Welcome to Sharing My Truth with Mel and Suzie, the uncensored version, where we bear it all.
We do. And hello, everyone. Happy New Year. Welcome back to Sharing My Truth Pod. You're here with Mel and Suzie. And here's a sweet little friendly reminder, as always, to subscribe to this podcast. Click that little bell in the corner of your app and subscribe to hear us every single week. We come up with a new episode every Wednesday for you guys to listen to. So tune in. You can also follow us at Share My Truth Pod on all of our socials, YouTube, watch us there, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you want to find us. You can also go to sharemytruth.com where you can share your truths with us. Hey, babes.
Hello, darling. That's awfully good of you.
Thank you. I've been practicing over the holidays.
I'm very good at
Very
that.
fabulous.
Yeah, you're very good at that.
Mel and I have been away from each other.
It's been tragic.
It's pretty crazy. I don't know how. I mean, I'm assuming our audience assumes that we spend quite a bit of time together, anyways, because we have this podcast.
Yes.
I don't think people understand how much work a podcast is sometimes.
Yeah.
Because we do this every single week. So like a week away from each other
It's like
is
a lot.
crazy. And I think it's been maybe two weeks almost, or it
Yeah.
has been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is actually funny. Mel and I literally spend every week together.
Yeah.
It's really special.
And then you get this pent up, like, so what's happening?
Yeah, and you can't shut us up for like 3 hours before we even start the podcast.
So we have to release all this energy as to what's going on. It's quite funny.
Yeah, it's been a lot. So we're not talked out yet, so don't worry,
No.
guys. You're not even close.
Never happened.
But I do want Mel to introduce what we're talking about today.
Yeah. Well, so it's January and everyone's on a new thing, right?
Of course, diets.
So they're on a diet kick, an exercise kick. They're worried about they're drinking too much.
Yeah, addictions.
They're whatever they're doing. So I saw this article and I thought, well, that's very interesting. This writer who decided to go sex sober.
Is that like doing sex without alcohol?
No, I think that's just not doing sex.
Oh, like you're what are you, abstinent?
Yeah. And I think, to me, I mean, I get what she's saying. She's talking about if you think about diets, or you think about, let's say you smoke too much weed. We're in Canada, so that's legal, so nobody come for us. Or you drink too much, or you shop too much, or whatever it is. We all have a shtick. We all have a thing that we do, right?
Yeah.
That we probably do too much of because we're trying to escape something else.
Absolutely.
And I think it's weird that people talk about diets and they talk about drinking and they talk about drugs, whatever bit of that is legal in whatever jurisdiction. They don't talk about sex enough in that way. That, we talk about sex addiction, but I don't think people talk enough about that sex obviously is very pleasurable. And a lot of people use it as a way of kind of escaping something. And they use it as a way to they think they're healing themselves, but they're not, because the process that they go through to have sex is the bit that's toxic, if that makes sense. So
Sure.
So the bit, like, they're having the fun for, whatever it is, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever it is, that period that you're in your nirvana.
You're saying about the sex part, the before part?
No, the sex bit.
Okay,
so the bit that you're like in the pleasure bit, you're very happy.
Yeah, you're fucking.
Exactly. You're having a good time, yada, yada, yada. But what got you to that? So were you on some app? Are you meeting some questionable person?
So like the chase.
Yeah. Well,
is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about anybody probably who isn't in a full-time relationship, who's using an app or date, or let's say the interaction of sex. They're using some way of meeting somebody that's a little bit toxic, right? So the sex is good, and we know this. We've all experienced this, where you have a good chemistry with somebody, but the actual relationship outside of that is appalling, is toxic, right? So there's also this idea that the way you get to that is toxic. So do you use some kind of app? Do you like meet people in bars? Do you hook up with people? Whatever your thing is, right? That can actually, kind of like anything, like eating, like drinking, like drugs, can get you into quite a lot of trouble.
So sex is kind of just like the cherry on top of whatever else you're kind
Exactly.
of doing.
It's the high.
No, I
It's the
totally
high.
get that, because I kind of even still am, I'll admit to this, is I love the chase
Right.
of like seeing a guy or like meeting whoever and like being like eyes on him, like
Yeah.
he doesn't know this yet, but I'm fucking him at the end of the night.
Right.
Like
Right.
and that's something that I've been doing since I was like 16 even.
Yeah.
So you have all this kind of experience, and it does become, I don't want to call it an addiction because that's not what it is for me, but there is that like thing of probably a naughty fun, you know, like it's probably not good for your well-being or your mental health or their well-being because they don't know they're part of this kind of game you're playing.
Yeah.
But there is that thing of where it's like, no, this is fun for me and we're going to have fun, and then I'm not going to ever talk to you again.
Yeah, but is that the bit that's bad? It's more like if doing that is damaging to you in the long term.
Right.
So that's the thing, like
is it,
drink,
but
drugs,
like
food.
damaging to me where it's like it is and it's not, but it's more damaging to the other person if they're
Yeah,
going to be
100%.
into it.
100%. But I think that, if your desire to have sex, which I think is most people, is the thing that leads up to it is not like healthy, whether it's a bad relationship, whether it's a toxic way of meeting people, whatever it is. If that bit isn't good for you, the bit where you're having fun, so whether it's sex, drink, food, shopping, whatever it is, isn't explaining, isn't kind of helping with the bit that leads you to the good bit. Does that kind of make sense? And I think maybe this writer's talking about, okay, I need to look at how I'm going about it or why I'm doing it. I mean, obviously we know why you're doing it, but like maybe I should think about that. Maybe I should do that in a different way.
No, that is interesting because I've never gone an intentionally long amount of time without sex. I've always I think the longest time since I started having sex, which just sounds crazy. Maybe not, but like in my head, it's like 3 months is like the longest period I've ever gone without having sex since I started having it. Maybe since I was 18 or something.
Yeah.
So maybe not. But there is that thing where it's like, oh my God, I haven't had sex in 3 months. I am dying.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it is like, wait, why do I feel like that? Why do I feel like I need to have sex? Because is this person still masturbating?
That's a good question.
Well, because it's like, is it the sex with other people that she needs to hold off on because she's afraid she's like doing some toxic shit before that?
But I think that's the whole thing. I personally think about the whole conversation about masturbating, and a lot of, because of like the sex toy industry, a lot of women are talking about it. It's, we can pretend that it's enough. It really isn't enough.
No,
because
of course
everyone
not enough,
needs
but
human
at least
interaction.
you're coming, right?
Yeah,
like
but people need human beings. I mean, we can, that's why we still crave relationships. We still go into relationships when proportionally they fail so often, right? Because we need it.
Yeah.
We need companionship. We need human touch. We want to be with somebody. Even if you're an introvert, you want to be with somebody, right? But
around someone who understands you in the long run.
But often people will go into very toxic situations for a tiny bit of a good bit
of satisfaction.
Yeah. And so I guess that's the bit you need to ask yourself what it's worth. But I mean, that's the problem, is you need what you need. But are you willing to do all that stuff that is not healthy?
It's like Requiem for a Dream.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've seen that movie. It's pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
But like, it's because these things become addictive. The things that feel good can become addictive. I did think that I had a sex addiction.
Really?
And
when was that? Recently? Long time ago?
I think I remember being like younger, and I want to say like maybe 16, 17, when I was just like a horny teenager. And my friends who were not as horny as me or just like didn't have sex yet, they were like, you have a sex addiction. And I think they were just like throwing their judgments at me. And I was like, I don't think I have a sex addiction. I think I just like sex. Also, maybe escapism in that way, because I wasn't super I wasn't like a happy at home teen,
Yeah.
right? Like you're trying
Yeah.
all these new things. You're trying to get out of the house. You're trying to be independent and you're figuring things out.
Yeah.
And sex is also a part of that. But then also it's like, at 22 when you still want sex all the time, at like 25 and like then now 28, 29 where I am now, yeah, I still want sex all the time. So is it an addiction? Yes, it makes me feel amazing. And like it is a part of a bit of escapism where it's like makes you feel amazing, makes you feel great. It's like you're having fun, hopefully, when you're doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a very easily addictive thing that is also like, if you're doing it safely, is not an unhealthy thing to do, right? So that's a hard thing to kind of get your head around when you're trying to be sex sober, let's say. Because you're like, well, what's the real problem here? It's not like it's bad for my health, right? Like,
no, 100%. I think it's more like thinking about the questionable things you do to have the fun, right? And I think that definitely happens when you're younger. And I agree. Like, what is the problem? Like, you want to have fun. It's a totally normal human thing. But if it was just for the majority of time that you're young and you could have sexual interactions and that's it, like literally you're eating or you're drinking or you're doing anything, you just, okay, you're attractive, blah blah, fun time, blah blah blah. But that isn't the case, is it? It doesn't work for the majority of people. One person may be able to think like that. For the vast majority of times the other person doesn't. And often, even in the briefest of encounters, like one person is way more invested than the other person. It's crazy, but that happens.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So then it sort of becomes toxic. And I think I was talking to somebody the other day about it, and I'd never really thought about it. And they were saying to me how they had used sex. They felt they'd used sex to heal themselves. They thought it was healing. Because I know it sounds sort of crazy. You go into another thing. You're doing another thing. You're escaping into something. You're escaping to another world. And they thought that's healing. And they didn't do it consciously. They realized afterwards. But the problem was all the toxic situations that got them into these sexual interactions were kind of more damaging than the pleasure it gave them. And I think there are actually, and I thought about it a bit after I spoke to them, and I was like, I actually think a lot of people use sex to heal themselves.
I've done it for sure. And it's really helped me, like having good sex. Not just having sex with anyone you can fucking find, because I've done that too. But it's like,
but that bit isn't healing, and that's the point I'm saying.
Exactly.
So I understand that you've done that. I mean, most of us have done that, and most of us have made some decisions. We would
the amount of people that I've had sex with that I'm like, what the fuck was I doing? Is ridiculous. But you learn from those experiences. Hopefully, you didn't get pregnant or got an STI from those experiences, right? That's why we use condoms. That's why we do all these things with every single partner we have. But things happen. But, you have to make smart decisions, and it's okay to have bad experiences to know that you've had also good experiences, right? Like you have to have the balance.
If it leads you from somewhere where you do some stupid shit where you're young, in whatever it is, you do stupid shit and it leads you to go, okay, that wasn't that smart. I'm going to do this now.
Yeah.
Or I'm done with that. I'm going to do this. Then that makes sense. But I think that's the point, is a lot of people don't do that, and they keep making the same mistake time and time again. They keep doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Because they know, like, meeting that person in a bar, and I don't know, does anybody meet in a bar anymore? Meeting that person on whatever app or whatever they're doing, they know, like, this is a very bad idea, but the bit that comes next is good, but the bit before and bit after is bad.
But you don't know until you try if it's bad.
Well, no, but I guess if you're in a situation.
If you're doing it for the wrong reasons, if you're like, oh, I just to get laid.
Yeah, but that's the point. I think lots of people are doing.
Do just get to get laid, though.
They do. They do.
So is it so bad?
I don't think it is bad, as long as they can cope with the kind of stuff surrounding it.
There is the honesty bit, like the honesty to ourselves and the honesty to the other person. I think because, like, I've just got out of a really long relationship in my like young age of 29. And you know, there's that weird part where you're like, do I go out with this guy? How much do you tell them about your past relationship before you want to have, you know what I mean? Because you don't want to be like, oh, well, I'm here for fun. You don't want to say that. So it's a very hard line to draw because you really don't know what you want until you actually meet that person.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of, I just think it's an interesting term. I just read it and I thought, sex sober, that really is a bit fucked up, isn't it?
She's like, is she still going on dates?
No.
She's not going on dates. She's completely just like cutting off romanticism, sex, the bitty pots, the bitty whoopies.
The whole the bits are not meeting, and nothing is and but I think maybe this is all part of all the shit we've talked about for months. Is that I think people, are they just taking themselves too seriously? Like, just relax. Like, this could just be sex, or this could be more, or this could be, or this could be,
the only reason someone would do this is because they felt like, in my mind, is because they felt like they were taking advantage of other people before, and they were doing sex or they were doing sex in an unhealthy way before.
100%.
That's the only reason someone would go sex sober. That's the only reason why I've ever gone like a sober January or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, I've been drinking way too much.
You've overdone it.
I need to sober myself up, and then I'll be good.
But I
can come back to it.
Yeah, but I think that's the point, is that there are lots of people who have a healthy, balanced approach to sex. It is part of their life. It is not their life.
Mm-hmm.
It is a thing that's very nice and part of what their life, but it's not everything.
Mm-hmm.
But then there are a lot of people, like people who have any kind of addiction. It is all consuming.
Mm-hmm.
So the pursuit to get that pleasure is all consuming and toxic. So, but I think you kind of have bigger problems, really, don't you? Rather than the sex.
Yeah. For me,
itself.
sex solves problems. Makes me happier.
Relaxed.
Makes me more relaxed. Makes me feel like I'm in control of my body again. There's a lot of times where like, I don't know if this happened. Exactly. Like for some people, I don't know, maybe this doesn't happen, but like for me, when I'm having a really stressful time where it's like, I just feel like super in my head about stuff, and I could finally just at the end of the day, like let go and have an amazing experience with someone who like loves and appreciates my body. And then I love and appreciate my body even more because of this experience. That makes me feel amazing. And I'm like, fuck yeah, I can rule the goddamn world.
Yeah, but on the whole, you're having experiences with somebody you sort of like.
Yeah, you'd hope so. But sometimes that's not even the case.
It's not even important.
I mean, now it is because I'm having sex with more people that I have more of a connection with because I'm just in my later 20s and I've figured that out. But I had this not exact same experience, but like the same reaction to sex. I was still using sex for empowerment when I was younger. The feelings aren't the same. Me, my 29-year-old self and like my 19-year-old self are not the same, but there's a huge amount of similarity with our sex experiences where it's like, I don't regret anything of what I did when I was 19. There's a lot of things that I'm like, Susie, come on, like, why did you do that? But I'm like, it's not like I regret it. It's more of just like a learning experience.
You wouldn't do it now, but
I wouldn't do it
matter.
exactly. Yeah. It's just all a learning experience for me. So it's like, okay, move on. Let's get better. Let's do better. Let's find better people who fuck. And like, that's what we should be doing. And that's why I would never have a sex sober moment.
No,
because it's, you know what this reminds me of?
Well, at all.
I would not be able to do it. But you know what this reminds me of? Is like a No Nut November. Have you heard of this?
Yes, I have.
The No Nut November, mostly for men, I'm assuming, where it's like guys who think that they've been jerking off too much or something like that, which honestly, maybe they have. Maybe they should take a break. I don't have a dick. I have no idea what that's like.
You don't? Really? Shocking.
I can show you. But you know, and I'm just like, I don't agree with this month for being known for, you know, not masturbating or not fucking. I'm just like, why don't we have a healthier relationship with our dick, you guys? Like,
well, I would agree with that. Yeah.
But that's what this reminds me of.
But it's the same thing, is like, just why are you getting to the point where you're being abstinent? Because it has been so toxic to get you to that point, which is a bit like who the hell have you been meeting?
Exactly.
But yeah, that's so, I just thought it was kind of weird and interesting because everyone's giving up or tries, that.
You try to give up one thing, it's like Lent. For
Well,
the
it's like
Christians,
everyone who,
right?
exactly. Everyone who gets to like
Protestants?
January, you're like,
Yeah.
okay, right, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this better, I'm not going to do that. And then you sort of get to about the 10th of January and we've all given up.
Oh, I remember. What month did we try to give up alcohol? And we lasted like a week.
Generally for me, it lasts a very, very short amount.
I think I've done 10 days.
I'm very good for a few days.
Mm.
But then a crisis occurs and then I need a glass of wine and then I feel a lot better about everything.
And that's okay.
Yeah, but yeah. So, I should question my own actions. Really,
Maybe.
shouldn't I? Yeah.
But I think you're doing great. You have a lot going on.
I do.
You are allowed to escape. I think that's what people are so fucking hard on themselves of being like, we have to be sober with our, we can't drink too much. We can't smoke too much. We can't shop too much.
Yeah.
We can't have sex too much. It's just like, why don't we all just do things in equal, just balance?
I agree.
Balance
I also
things.
think
Some things happen a lot. Some things don't happen a lot.
Yeah.
Like there's just ways that the life goes.
Yeah, and
Gotta be kinder to ourselves.
I 100% agree. And I think if you recognize stuff, and I was saying this to you earlier, I've always had this, me personally, I've always had this thing that I like TV. I like watching stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a sort of, let's say, a problem childhood. So when I was a kid, I watched a lot of TV because I was escaping what was going on in my life. And now I still like TV and I'm actually not escaping anything at all because my life's pretty good. But I still feel when I get stressed, if I kind of sit and watch something, it makes me feel calm. But it's like, because I'm escaping into something that isn't anything to do with my life. But I recognize that's what's going on. I know what I'm doing, but I know where that came from in my life. And I think that's anything with anybody. If you can sort of try and understand why you do something, it's very helpful. And sex, drinking, food, shopping, watching TV. It doesn't really matter what it is.
No, and I think most of us have addictions that we aren't even aware of.
We all do.
Right? Things that we are able, like, yeah, of course, meth is an escape. So is sex.
Yeah, and I mean, some of the things cost
Don't
money.
try meth.
And so, yeah, please don't do that. And some of them do cost money.
Yeah.
And, if you can hopefully find something that doesn't cost money, that's very helpful.
Yeah, give us a tip.
Yeah, I mean, I like shopping and that's not good.
Me too. That's our problem.
But, whatever. Anyway, that's my comment for January. Sex sober or not? Probably not.
I'd say not. That's just me though. I don't know. I couldn't do it.
But maybe question some of the pursuits.
Well, July. January is the time for reflection.
There you go.
And we should reflect
on
what our year has been.
Yeah.
And I look at my year and how many times I've had amazing sex and I'm like, fuck yeah.
But with guys you've chosen. So if you're going to bars and dodgy situations or whatever that is today, I've no idea, then maybe think about that. Maybe think about doing it in a better way. I don't know. Go to yoga and have sex with the guys at the yoga class.
Or what if your sex life is so fucking boring? You're like, maybe I'm going to do it in a worse way.
Well, there is that too.
Maybe you're like, I'm so sick of having boring sex.
Well, I mean, if that's the mass of the
that
population,
I'm
Susie.
ready to go big or go home. And I'm going to start a sex community of orgies and key parties and swingers.
Wow. Okay, or you could do that.
That's the route that I'm like, why are we experimenting less? Why are we taking away shit?
Just go the other way.
Go more extreme. Go batshit.
But fair enough.
Nuts on the sex side. You think you're fucking crazy? I think not.
I know friends who've done that. They've got divorced and they've gone absolutely crazy.
That's the only way to do it.
I think it's very healthy.
It is. Yeah. You have to experiment to know what you don't like.
Oh, 100%. It's like anything.
Yes. And so if you aren't doing that, what are you doing?
It's like anything. If you don't eat spinach.
Oh my God, I was just going to say.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you don't
I
have
love
peas.
spinach. I love peas. Well, if you don't eat them, you're not going to know.
No. We're not going to have like pineapple. How are you going to know if you don't like pineapple?
I know. I love all those things. So.
God, you got to love them.
Yeah.
But if you don't, that's fine. You just got to experiment.
Yeah.
Although we brought fruit into this. Fruity gal.
Do we need a word from our sponsors?
And there's a wonderful sponsor. Sharing My Truth Pod is so excited to partner with Vibrator.com, where the A in Vibrator is the number 8. This is an extremely exclusive code where no other podcast has it. If you go to Vibrator.com right now, use the code MS15, that's MS15 at Vibrator.com. You can now get 15% off anything in store. That's any sex toys for you, your partner, your neighbor, your mom. We don't judge. We don't care. Get it now. Go to the link in our bio, put in the code, and get jiggy with it. So everyone, we're going to come back into this. Escapism, sex.
Sober.
I want to talk about, we're
2025.
going to talk about, we have a little tea for today, okay? Quick little tea. Mel and I were talking about it today. I just want our audience's opinion on this because it's like, if you're dating a rich guy, you know he has the means, and let's say he still takes you out, he does all these things for you, but he doesn't like material purchases. Is that a red flag?
It's problematic.
So for Mel and I, we're very materialistic girls. Okay, it's not a problem for us. We can afford our own shit. It's fine.
It is.
Obviously, Mel has a wonderful husband who loves to buy her things. He doesn't like to shop.
He hates shopping.
But a wonderful husband because he's like, anything you want, baby. You got it.
He just says whatever you want because then he has a quiet life.
So good.
So he has figured
So
that
he's
out.
smart.
Yeah, he's figured that out. Yeah.
So, guy who has means, loves to take care of you.
Why does he care what you're buying?
I think it's just, I have no idea. It's his money. He feels like it's a dumb purchase.
Yeah, okay. That's the root of my issue with it.
Okay, tell me more.
Because it's dumb for him. It's not dumb for you.
Right.
So men need different things to women on the whole. And not all women are into handbags and beauty and stuff like that. But let's say proportionally more women than men are. And it's a bit like men and women don't need, for the most part, the same things. So then he's judging you on the same kind of level as him. And I think that's stupid. And why does he care? I also think a man of a certain amount of means, and this is kind of old fashioned, so you're all going to like fucking come at me in the comments, is, you kind of want to be with a woman. Like if you're hanging out in certain places, you want your woman to be well dressed, and I mean that's very old fashioned. That sounds awful, but it's true.
I agree with that. I'm like, you think that this costs money? I was just saying to you,
it brings you down.
I was like, baby, I'm like, and feminist women hate this shit when you compare yourself to like an item. But sometimes that's the only way that men kind of their brands can go, which sounds horrible.
Yeah.
But I'm like, imagine myself as a super expensive car. Okay.
Oh my God, I was just thinking this.
I need maintenance. I need the best maintenance possible.
But I was just thinking, if he's driving, let's say he's driving a Bentley and you turn up with an Aritzia bag, I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. Or you turn up with, today I've been looking at the Walmart work-in.
Do you know how's that?
Wow, I'm so current. I'm so on top of
You're
things.
way too current for me.
So Walmart has come out with this copy of the Birkin.
Yeah.
And I think it's called the Work-in.
Stop.
Or something stupid. Anyway, and it's like $79 or whatever it is. Let's say you're driving around in a Bentley. You can't have like a fucking Walmart handbag.
No.
It doesn't, you can't walk into some of these, I don't understand why, and we're going to say traditionally man, woman, it could be the other way, why he would give a fuck. What, I don't get it. And
he should be grateful.
Yeah, I don't get it.
That he is able to spend his money on me.
I can understand why he wouldn't want to buy a Birkin. I remember.
Oh no, we're not even talking about Birkins.
Years ago,
like
Max went into Hermes, and
no,
my lovely husband has no idea about these things. I've taught him about them, but he has no idea. And he's like, "Okay, I'm going to buy you an Hermes," and he walked in Hermes, and this is like that's probably more than like 15, 20 years ago. And
they were cheap back then.
No, they won't cheat. He's
Still
like,
$10,000.
I want the Birkin, and he's like, you can't get it. It was a bit like
Yeah, you have
that
to make an appointment.
It was a bit. No, it was like that scene from Samantha in.
Yeah.
She
It was a
goes
wait
into
list.
wherever she goes, Bergdorf Goodman's or whatever, and you can't get one.
She went to a
and
door
so
miss.
my husband,
She went into her miss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my husband was like, hang on, what do you mean? I'm going to give you the money. Like he, in his brain,
Yeah.
he cannot understand why can I not have it? The fact that it's handmade by craftsmen in block. He's like, no, I don't give a shit. What? Yeah. But then they tell him the price, and he's like, no, I just want the bag. I don't want the shop. I don't want like the whole company. I just want the bag.
Oh my God.
And he's like, knows about expensive bag. He's like, yeah, that is very expensive. Yeah, so fair enough. But that was a while ago. He's,
Look, it's not for everyone. And also, I mean, I understand that material things aren't for everybody. Some people like houses, right? Like, and they're like, why would you want something if you could save up for something that's actually going to make you money?
yeah,
at the end of the
it's
day?
all relative. It's a bit like, people like doing things like I don't like adventure holidays. Like I don't want to go and
Zip
jump
lining?
off. No, I don't want to do anything where I'm not.
Can't even imagine you ziplining. That is so crazy.
I just want to
my
sit down
God.
at a table and I'll look at the people ziplining with a glass of wine. I do not want to do any of that. I don't want to be doing any of it.
You don't want to snorkel?
I've done it all. I don't want to do it. And so, but I understand people who spend lots and lots of money going on holidays where they watch, I don't know, turtles doing whatever while they're ziplining.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But that's fine. But I would really like to go to Paris and go into a store, and I'd like to spend my money
To shop.
Yeah, that way.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Some people like to, we are shop girls.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
But some people really think you're
And when I see
mad.
something I bought from somewhere that I know I bought it from, it gives me joy.
Yeah.
It's something material that I can take with me.
Yeah.
It's not just an experience that I'll remember. I might forget it when I have dementia.
Well, look, I would say to these men, I like jewelry. I'm very into jewelry. And luckily my husband likes buying jewelry. But I would say to any man who is averse to jewelry, handbags, whatever, for their partner, you can always sell it.
Yes. Something
Can
that
actually make money. Out of it.
absolutely, with actual Birkins, you can make money. Hermes, you
Yeah.
can make money. Chanel's, you can make money.
I mean, you can sell it. I'm not sure, there are questions of, but the point
Depends
is,
if they're vintage, but yeah.
yeah, you can make money out of
You
it.
can.
Yeah.
They're an investment piece. That's what
Yeah.
they call them.
Stocks
Stocks.
or Birkins.
Birkin,
Yeah,
100%.
exactly. There you go. There you go.
We got to stop because these men are going to hate us for this.
They
Okay, love you guys so much. What do you guys think about the stocks / the Birkins and escapism in sex, sober sex, sex sober?
Love it.
Have you guys done it? We
That's
want to
it.
know.
We want to know.
Love
We
you.
do. Bye. Thanks so much for listening. Please rate and review this podcast and follow us on social at Sharing My Truth Pod, and leave us a voicemail on our website at sharingmytruth.com to share your stories and experiences with us. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.